Yes.
Okay. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Amy, if you take the roll call.
Mayor Bogenreith.
Here.
Ms. Hoffman.
Here.
Ms. Bruhoop. Here. Ms. Strain. Here. And Mr. Tucker.
Here. All right, let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and also a motion to approve the minutes from May
So moved.
27th.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Okay, the first item is Commissioner, Department Head, and Community Board reports. Jeff, I guess the couple, Jeff and I had an opportunity to meet with Governor Roden last week, and we were able to speak about Jeff gave him a book on the flood mitigation plans and went over that with him, so he's well aware of it. Seemed, you know, there's support there. So, and then the next day, Senator Thune was in town, did the same thing. That was part of a Dakota Valley Business Council lunch, and he basically said that if we run into any roadblocks with either the Army Corps of Engineers or FEMA or HUD, that they are glad to help us keep that process moving if we run into hiccups. So I think they were good meetings. And
I think the main, with Thune, one of the main things was the 444 average number of days to review a FEMA mitigation application. Maybe he could help there. And he also specifically mentioned Senator Round's efforts with the Corps and how they're starting to get involved and help on that too, to try to expedite that process, which in my mind is really good news because we can continue to evaluate multiple options on a parallel course and make decisions based off that. So that was encouraging part of it. So
anything else?
I would add, I just wanted to update you on the Game Fish and Parks project that's currently underway. They've got a lot of the sediment removed out of Site 1, which would be the city lot. The problem is that the dirt that they're taking out of there has a huge swell factor. In other words, I think it was 3,800 cubic yards or some number of amount of dirt that they've taken out of there. It's taking up twice as much space in our lot because of the swell associated with the water. So I was getting concerned with the amount of space it was taking up. So some of that dirt is going to end up going to Jefferson. I think they're going to start that process now, taking that dirt to Jefferson. But the other part of that equation too is if you look at the dirt, we really have to be careful with what we do with it because of it's super wet. It's going to take a long time to dry, and it seems to be quite a bit of clay in there, which is not good fill material. But we'll evaluate that as it dries out and see what it will be good for, or and where it would be best used. So he'll start taking the rest of that Site 2 dirt to Jefferson.
Any other reports from commissioners?
Oh, one other thing. Penrose reconstruction pre-con meeting is next Thursday, or this Thursday. So once we have that pre-con meeting, we'll have a good idea of how the project will unfold in the schedule. So we'll get that out on the website and share it via Facebook and other social media.
Okay.
The Penrose pre-construction? Yeah, I suppose it would be. I mean, typically they aren't, but you're welcome to come.
And that's with the contractor?
That's with the contractor and the engineers. And we do that. We do a pre-construction on every project we do. So yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't be able to come.
All right. Switching to community input, if you have an item that's not on our regular agenda, you're welcome to speak.
Hi, I'm Leanne Welty with the library, and I just wanted to invite you guys to our summer reading event that's coming up this Thursday. It's a citywide collaboration. All of the departments will come together, and we invite the community to come and join us. We'll have all sorts of different things for the community members to do, and friends, if you want to bring friends. And so I'm just going to hand this out to you, and you guys decide.
All right.
Thanks. Thanks.
Is that the same night as the fire department open house?
I don't know.
I don't know. There's a lot going
Well,
on.
it's during the day.
Oh, gotcha.
11 to 2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Public input then? Are we into public?
Hi,
Yeah, community input, yep.
so I'm Judy Bailey with Randy, and we own the Prairie Apartments on Highway 105 North. We got like 28 units, and we want to address you regarding the temporary transload operations for the LG Everest rock business. The train bridge should be done in a few months, and we'd like assurances that this operation will be cleaned up. We are asking that you take a look into it. We are concerned that the LG Everest request for a temporary operation is going to turn into a regular operation. They are expanding their operation at the site. It is an eyesore. We requested to be put on the agenda last week. Eli gave us some material. I don't know if you got it. It showed the original request. Well, we have owned this property for 30 years plus, 28 units on Highway 105. We've worked very hard to clean this area up and make the grounds neat and cared for, building new units. We pay commercial taxes on this property. The tenants were always happy with this area and how quiet it was. As background, the LG Everest requested a temporary transload operation behind our apartment because of the flood. The operation has been within 100 yards of our units. The noise is loud, up to 90 decibels, and it can be heard blocks away, and it is startling close up. It is dusty depending on the operation and the wind. The road has taken a beating, and the tenants are understandably upset. You know, we have ordinances and restrictions for the purpose of the health, safety, and a better quality of life for our community. We feel this operation is interfering with our tenants and other businesses' right to a clean, quality environment. The vibrations of the operation has caused at least one of our buildings to have cracks in the walls, and we'd like to repair this with the knowledge it won't be happening again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I am Jerry Bailey with Bailey's RV Park on 675 North Highway 105. And just probably not loud enough. I wish this was very loud. This is what we wake up to every day. This is what we hear all day long, okay? There is dust, a lot of dust. They are doing nothing to stop the dust. They have said that they would. They have done nothing. And you get the dust in more than just one time. They bring it in on a train. They unload it from the train into a car. You got dust. They take the truck down. You dump it. You got dust. You reload that truck to haul it somewhere else. You got dust. You move it and tidy it up. You got dust. I have asthma, very bad. I cannot even go outside when they're working. I cannot even go outside. I wash my car and it just gets covered with that dust. And yes, I have granite in my drive, but that is not dusty. It's been there for years. I have always also got compliments on how quiet it was there and everything. Yeah, I've lost a couple of tenants because of the noise, a couple of renters. I rent long-term RV lots, and it's bad. It is really bad. I also have PTSD, rain, storms. Storms are a big one. I'm sorry, but it's storming almost every day out there, and it drives me insane. I know LG Everest at one time, not too awful long ago, 10, 12 years, wanted to do something similar to what they're doing now. and they were told no because, everybody came in. The piece of land that we are on, my husband's grandfather bought back in the 1940s, so we have been there for a long time, and very respected name and everything. There's a lot of land between us and Sioux Falls that's got nothing there, which is if they're wanting to do this kind of stuff all the time, they need to buy land there. They've got the money, they can afford to buy it. It's not healthy for me, it's not healthy for other people. They were supposed to stop way up north of where they're working, which unfortunately was going to leave a piece of Randy Bailey's apartments, houses, having it there by them. They've gone way past us. They do not stick to, the only thing in this paper that they have stuck to is the time that they open and the time they close. 7 o'clock in the morning, you're going to get woke up whether you got to get up or not. And I can't even go outside when they're out there working. The dust just blows. I've got videos, I've got pictures, I've got all kinds of stuff on my phone starting back on December 10th, and my husband was yelling at me long before that to start logging things. If anybody would like to see, I'm more than glad to show it. It's not a place for them to keep working. And this bridge, half of my renters right now, there are people working on the bridge. And they can't even stand the noise. They're working 12-hour shifts, they're doing 24 around the clock. They've told me, they got plugs and they got earphones and they got radios going to get some sleep. That's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I get people over at the post office says, that's gotta drive you nuts. We hear it clear over here. Yeah, you do. Yeah, I am. There's plenty of place for them to buy. Where there are houses, there's people living. Randy's got apartments, there's houses, we got the RV park, then you got some mobile homes down. They're working their way on down. They're doing whatever they want, and they're not doing it right. And we were told, it's temporary transload operation and stockpiles are to be discontinued by December 31st, 2025, or beforehand in accordance with the completion of the BNSF bridge. Not all of Sioux land, the bridge, when it's done, they are done. They don't haul nothing in, they haul everything out and get it cleaned up. This is on here. I'm really holding it to everybody. It's not right.
Thank you.
Just a follow-up to that, if I could.
Yeah, Daniel, is it the same topic, Daniel, or a different topic?
No, it's to do with the flooding.
Okay, do you mind if I'm going to have Jeff respond to...
In response to the complaints, LG Everest has proposed to move that site all the way down to the south end of their site, where it's more industrial and general business surrounded by. And so the other part of that equation, I don't know, none of you were here, or maybe Lynn was here, but one of the limitations we have with the railroad site is that we don't have any zoning authority over it. It doesn't have a zoning classification to it. And the surface, there's some federal laws that restrict us from inhibiting interstate traffic, train traffic. And so, as we looked at this early on with the old council, part of our problem was we just didn't have a lot of authority over it. And so, in response to the different complaints, LG Everest has wanted to move it down to the south and possibly make it a permanent operation, where it would be more conducive to the surrounding land uses, industrial and general business. So that's one of the things we're working on now, to get it to planning and zoning, to introduce it to them. But like I said, I don't know what our recourse is in regards to the railroad site.
So they don't have to follow our ordinances, like noise or dust or whatever our ordinances are?
To my knowledge, no.
I'd like to maybe correct you. I'm George Bailey. My wife and I own the RV park. This was shot down several years ago for them coming in by this North Sioux City Council. They made their own set of rules going in there. They have not followed one except for the time they start and the time they stop. Now, you said interstate travel for trains, did you not?
That's my understanding,
Okay,
sir.
that is the trains going through.
And I'm just telling you what our attorney said is all I'm
Well,
saying.
I'm sorry, but then the city should hold them responsible for our businesses. My dad built that park 20 years ago. They went to the city council. They were not allowed to move in and do what they're doing now. Sioux City wants them out because of the havoc downtown with their moving the cars. Moving down to the south end means nothing because they're going to use from the top of the north to the bottom of the south. They don't abide by their rules.
Well,
I know what you're saying, but their litigation is, we can do anything. I talked to the loader operator personally. First thing he says is, "You're trespassing." I said, "Yes, I am." I says, "You're supposed to be up there, not down here halfway through our park."
oh, yeah, we're trying to get them to move all the way to the south.
They need to go out of town.
Well, I get that.
You can't allow, it's a different operation, and it isn't Everest's land. It is Northwest's railroad land.
I think what I need to have is get the railroad to come here and defend themselves against this stuff, because I don't know what the answers to your questions are. And I'll have them here at the next meeting.
My dad was stopped from operating in Sioux City by the city council for rock crushing, digging, several different things. You can't tell me that it's legal or not legal.
I'm not the attorney.
Well, and I'm telling you that if they are allowed to do this, the city ought to have, they dump every bucket they dump out of that railroad car onto a truck. We got pictures, dust, every bucket. They say, well, we're going to control dust. They spray the ground, but every bucket goes on. They move the truck up there, they dump it. Dust, more noise. They have not, they're supposed to stay at the north end. Well, we don't have to, we can do what we want. That was what the loader operator told me. We can do whatever we want down here. That is LG Everest employee. I said, but you're supposed to go up there. I said, can't you pull them cars up there to unload? Well, we don't want to have an engine sitting there running all the time. That would irritate you. Quote unquote.
Well, yeah, it's a land use issue.
No, it is two separate operations. Not pulling trains in, parking them, hooking, pulling them out. That is train travel.
I'll have them come and explain their business model.
Well,
I don't know what the answer is, I don't think you do.
Well, but I don't think what they're doing is entirely legal. LG Everett buys senators to make laws. They're $1 billion company. And if they want to come in and move that to the south, like you're suggesting, well then, we're got, right over the railroad tracks, you got North Sioux people. You got right over the railroad tracks, less than 2 blocks away.
But it's, like I said, it's industrial and general business that surround that site, whereas in the north site, the difference is there is, somehow they got residential zoning next to a rail line back whenever it was, and so now that's created a conflict. And so the railroad was there first, the houses came later, and so what LG Everest wants to do in response to your complaints is move it all the way down to the south. So I don't know, I thought you'd be happy about this.
Maybe I should do away with my park and open up another gravel company.
That would be,
well, this is what you're saying.
Well,
This is what you're saying.
No, I'm not, I'm just saying.
Well, but you're allowing them to break their own rules. If I break rules at the park, there's going to be people in there fining me, warning me, papering me, making me adjust. They don't even follow the rules they have written. They are a bad neighbor.
What do they mean by south? Like, when you say they want to move it south, like...
He's talking down almost to the skyline. And from there,
I think
they're not gonna quit unloading up north. They're not gonna do it.
another,
Because they don't stay up where they're at, they're down in the middle.
and the riprap has been a problem, but you know,
It all is a problem. The
If I could-
granular is a problem.
the riprap have created some pretty big noise issues. I'll grant
Absolutely.
that.
It's like when
But
the dynamite went off to blow the bridge.
The riprap is a very seasonal product. From my understanding is it's only being used after floods for the most part. And so most of their product that they want to ship out of here is the smaller.
No, and they're.
I'm just telling you what
They're
they
telling
told
you what you want to hear to get in there. And I'm telling you, whatever arrangements you make, and I'm telling you now, they do not care. They've got it in print, they signed it, and they have broken every one except the 7 to 5. Every one.
But we probably need to find out then if our ordinances affect them in any way, shape, or form, and if they're breaking our ordinances, then we can surely do something.
We checked this during when the commission, or the last council, and our attorney said our options are limited because of what they do, and that's.
Wasn't a
train.
complaint filed with the Transportation Commission as well?
That I don't know. These guys could answer that, but.
Randy Bailey, you know, shortly after this building was built, LG Everest stood right here and asked to do the same thing. And at that time, the city council voted it down. Now, what has changed from that point to this point?
They still could have done it, Randy. It was just, they still could have done it. It's just, we're trying to work out a compromise.
Well, why can't it get just, tell them that
Well, I guess
they can't
that's
do
these
it?
guys, up to
You
these
know,
guys if they want to do that.
Nothing's changed. I haven't seen anything in the paper that's changed the rules.
LG Everest,
I think
After that
somebody
vote-
is
after
doing
that
a
vote-
favor for somebody.
after that vote, they probably could have moved forward anyway, but they didn't. So that's all, that's the only, I wasn't here then, I don't know what the details are, so I just wanted, your complaints have been heard, I think we all understand that. And I just mentioned the LG Everest response to your complaints is to move it all the way down to the south.
And how are they going to get in?
Have you?
All right, I think this is new to us. This is a new issue to us. I think we need to get it on the agenda.
My wife and I, we gave the city, Jeff here, a copy of our background, what we've done through all of this, and apparently he's not shared that with this commissioners.
I have not
And there's
read it.
pictures in there of the decibel readings that I've taken and the pictures of the dust. And I don't know if you drove out there with this small rock being unloaded, every bucket, there's a big cloud of dust. And you know what that dust does? Do you know what that dust does to you?
I understand that, that's why I
You
want
know what
to,
that dust does?
I wanna move it to-
We grew up.
I wanna move it to the-
We grew up around the quarry. That stuff causes cancer if it gets into your lungs.
I'm sorry, I don't know what more I can say here other than we're trying to move it to the south
Are
in
they
response.
going to put water over the train when they're unloading it?
Have any of you guys drove out there?
That's not
I
required.
know you're all new. Just drive out there someday. I was out there picking up garbage out of our apartment complex, and it's just a constant roar, even with that little rocks you say they're unloading.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, we obviously need to do some research on this.
As I said, most of our renters are here to repair that bridge. As they move out, you guys are all welcome to bring your RVs and live there for a freaking month and see what you think. I'll put your hands to that if anybody wants to. You weren't here, so you don't know what that means, but.
All right. We will do some research into this.
Will we all be notified when this meeting's gonna be?
There is no meeting yet, but yes.
And there will be, we can write our name and numbers down on that, and you'll call us.
It's on the website every week.
You can call us and let us know.
Sure, I'll
We'll
call you.
write, everybody that's interested, there's a paper up there, we'll write our names and phone numbers, and they will call us each.
All right, Daniel, you're up.
quick synopsis of everything. I'll just give you a copy of what I'm going to read.
Give it to Amy.
Just one comment.
Oh, Daniel, just state your name and your address if you could.
My name is Daniel Zareff. I live at 202 1/2 South Churchill Circle, North Sioux City. And good evening to the council and the residents of North Sioux City. And I'm here tonight on behalf of the 369 people who voted for me for commissioner, but I'm also for the residents of North Sioux City on behalf of the flooding, including the tri-state area, and those within 5 square miles of the Sioux River and Missouri River banks between North Sioux City and 100 miles upstream of North Sioux City. The consensus mitigation should not fall entirely on the city of North Sioux City. Taxpayers cleaning up the disasters being dumped on us, please take into consideration. Sioux Falls is expected to grow by 50 square miles from 2002 to 2025 and currently is at 80 square miles. Take into effect T. Brandon, Canton, Beersford, Harrisburg, Hayward, North Sioux City, and all the farms and all the dumping runoff and wastewater into the Sioux River. Don't expect to ever close I-29, the railroad, or highways due to flooding caused and create a 400-mile detour probably in the future. In the 1990s, 1/2 of inch of rain in Sioux Falls created 19.2 million cubic feet of runoff. In 1993, the U.S. Geological study showed 43 rainstorms averaged over 40-some years. Sioux Falls sent 6.2 billion gallons of stormwater and 7.9 billion gallons of treated wastewater dumped into the Sioux River on our back door. Just a couple questions. Have you tried to understand what areas, how it floods, and what the impacts of the flooding are? Who are we partnering with to improve existing flooding models and tools? If the current disaster management focuses on preparedness, response, and recovery, in the future, could we try to focus on proactive resilience, planning, and implementation to reduce the impact from future flooding and help keep communities recover more quickly? For example, we should never shut down the freeway, railroad, and our community's emergency and evacuation routes. It should stand to be said. Let's all take a good look on proactive planning and implement resilience, work towards future mitigation of risk, and reduce costs of decades of multi-million-dollar disasters from flooding, and help local governments acquire the data, tools, and processing needed toward their mitigation planning. In conclusion, I think the flooding mitigation plan should encompass the entire tri-state of South Dakota and the communities 80 miles upstream from North Sioux City on both Sioux River and Missouri River. If you don't have any questions, I will just quietly walk away.
Good points you make.
Okay, but I'm here to help. I've never done any work ever. This is the first time I've ever done any work where it's in a vicinity. I've always worked on corridors starting from Green Bay and working all the way to Chicago, and that was on transportation issues. I will go to my resume here. I worked for the state of Wisconsin as in the Railroad Safety Commission, DOT, and the Public Service Commission for a whole decade and even longer. I was the 72 county, 4 million people railroad compliance investigator for the entire state, working with the Federal Railroad Administration in Chicago and Washington, D.C. I was on several committees, and I can just tell you, I'm here to help you if you need help with that too. Thank you.
Appreciate that, Daniel.
Thank you.
I'm Bill Lou, 31 Northshore Drive, McCook Lake. A couple of things. I understand that there's a hold on building permits for lots 22 through 59. Question, when will people be able to get their building permits? When will a decision be made? And my third point is, I want to build on my land. Thank you.
Thank you.
didn't know why are we holding building permits? Yes.
We're not holding permits, but there are some lots east of Penrose that were right in the line of fire, and so those have been, I don't know that we've considered any building permits, but we have issued one on 71, I believe. And there are other people planning on building permits, so I don't know that we're holding them.
Okay.
Only in that area.
I'm sorry.
You are, I mean, you're not giving permits.
We haven't entertained any permit requests from that anywhere east of Penrose. My concern with that area is that it's right in the line of what happened in 24. So if one comes in, we will want to have serious discussions with whoever's doing it, just to make sure they're aware of what happened and what the prospects are moving forward.
Okay.
So is there a problem with Mr. Walou, who was on lot 31?
No, I mean, if he wanted to get a building permit, he would come in and apply for one, and then we'd have I'd want to have discussions with him about what happened and all that stuff. But I just want to make sure that people are aware of what happened and that there has not been any mitigation to stop it yet. We're still in that process, so I just don't want anybody to get caught. So that's what I was doing.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. We'll move on to the agenda items. Northshore reconstruction, agreement with Federal Highway Administration for emergency and permanent repair funding.
So this is an agreement that was approved a while ago, but then the DOT wanted to modify it, and she's bringing it up now. They wanted to modify it, but I told them to wait for the new commission to take over before we put it in front of you. And so the main change and the only change of this is C, 4C, and you see it on your screen now, and it's basically saying that the DOT will only reimburse the city for North Shore reconstruction if and when they get the money from Federal Highway. And Federal Highway only gets the money, or DOT only gets the money from Federal Highway twice a year. And so they've already got the first allotment, or they're waiting for the first allotment. And so it only comes twice a year, and sometimes it comes in the first quarter, in the fourth quarter, sometimes it varies. So they want to make sure that this agreement is clear on that.
And that was the only change.
That's the only change.
So they want us to front the money until they get the money?
We were always going to front it until we got it from them, but they just want to clarify that they can only give us the money if they get it from Federal Highway. All the Federal Highway money runs through the state DOTs. So the state DOT can't give us the money if they don't get it from Federal Highway, and they will give it to us when they get it. So we can submit a request right now, and they wouldn't reimburse us until they get it from Federal Highway.
But the money from Federal Highway is guaranteed?
It's guaranteed as much as federal money is guaranteed.
Okay, I got you, okay.
Yeah, I don't see, it's not a high probability that something like that would derail us.
So we're just taking action to make this change to 4C, basically?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to accept the new agreement and give Chris authorized to sign it.
I'll second it.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. All right, the next one, I believe, is just an organizational issue with personnel manual and organization chart.
Yeah, I wanted to introduce this personnel manual to you. It needs some changes to reflect the new form of government from council to commission. And you can scroll through there and see all the changes. I won't go through them in any detail. It's mainly just modifying them to reflect the commissioner instead of council. And then there are some other items in there regarding ADA and some things that needed to be updated from the last time it was done, just by changes in state and federal law. So those are all outlined in there. I don't, unless you have questions on any specific ones or want me to go through them piece by piece, I will. But Sarah drafted this up as she did the ordinances that we changed. There's an example.
Yeah, I think all the changes were shown in red line. Yeah,
They were.
And so I won't ask you to approve it today, but I would ask you to maybe approve it at our next meeting, or at least consider it for approval. And then we can make those changes. There are no changes in here that are substantive to the way we do business. It's just to reflect the commissioners and some of the updated things. I can have Sarah buzz through those at the next meeting for you if you want. But if you look through them and you have some questions, please get them to me before the next meeting so I can get them answered before the...
Did anybody want to wait for the next meeting for that?
But I only had it on there for discussion,
Okay,
so sorry. I have it on there for discussion, so we can...
okay, that's fine. And then organization chart, is that a separate item?
Yeah, I wanted to just kind of run through the organizational chart for you so you could see how things are. So the one up on your screen is with the organizational chart currently. And as I consider changes and things that I see that maybe I would like to suggest some changes.
Sorry.
This is what currently exists today for our organizational chart. If you scroll up, I've kind of come up with two options that I would like the commission to consider adjusting to, so that we can, one of my objectives is to develop more internal capacity. Right now, we do contract a lot with like Stockwell for planning, and if you look at what I'm proposing here, mainly what this does is kind of just expands on the existing one, but I direct your attention to planning and public works are two areas that I'd really like to see some more management on. The planning and zoning and the community planning is something that we need to do a better job at the city moving forward, and the zoning issues. Planning and zoning is one of them, but also just long-term planning, middle to long-term planning. And so what I've done here is I kind of created two options that I would like you to consider, and I'd like you to have your input on. It creates a new position, this option creates a new position of Director of Planning and Public Works. And so when you look through the whole organizational chart, you'll see commissioners of different, the different commissioners of finance, commissioner of public safety plugged in there to kind of show you where you would be interacting with staff on. But to enhance our capability in public works and planning, I've created a new position called Director of Planning and Public Works. That position would be a director level position. They would be part of the leadership team as we move forward in operations. They would be interacting with the Commissioner of Public Works and the Commissioner of Utilities. And then it kind of breaks down how I kind of see the organization taking care of business under specific items. The Public Works Superintendent would be under that person. The Director of Planning and Public Works I envision to be a PE, an engineer, that can direct both Public Works and the Planning and Zoning Commission. So we can provide more. Right now, Stockwell does a lot of that work for us. I'd like to try to bring that in-house either through this position or through my second option that I'll be showing you here in a minute. Under all of these different scenarios, we'll still need to be contracting with companies like Stockwell. We'll need to contract for our inspection services. We have inspections here, but we don't have enough to employ a full-time person right now. I would envision us kind of sharing one with Dakota Dunes, North Sioux City, Union County, Beersford, that kind of coalition to try to take care of the permitting. And I want to build more capacity under Rusty for water and sewer and for our public works department in general. And this is kind of the start of that. Under this scenario, I've got myself providing staff support to North Sioux City Economic Development. That's not under me right now, but under this scenario, it could be. And then if you want to just go down to the next one, this is a second option, a director of community and economic development. Again, they would work with the Commissioner of Public Works, the Commissioner of Utilities, and underneath that person would be the Public Works Superintendent, Planning, Zoning, and North Sioux City Economic Development Corporation. So they would provide staff support to the North Sioux City Economic Development and Planning and Zoning Commission. The rest of it is about the same. If you look under the finance officer, it's the same under both options, but I kind of just, for our own internal discussions, is just try to expand on that a little bit so you could see what was all under the finance officer and where those duties lie. Right now we have, I think, about 24 FTEs. Does that sound right? 24 FTEs. These two scenarios would bring that number to 25 or 25 and a half. But I think what the city needs to do is continue to build leadership in the department heads, and then also make our maintenance staff and our finance staff thicker, deeper, so that we can handle more stuff internally and be able to plan accordingly. What we're doing right now, I asked Amy to put these scenarios into the budget so that we could see how that interacts with our budget and what it would be. But if as these develop, I'd almost like to advertise for both positions and see what we get the best value for, and then implement it maybe in the fourth quarter of this year. But the 2026 budget will reflect a structure more like this than what you see on the first one.
I like how these options are more proactive in terms of city planning and thinking ahead for what our city needs instead of being so reactive. Because I think all of us can agree that that is probably one of our city's biggest failures, is just being reactive all the time instead of being proactive. And I'm very hopeful for either of these options that they can address some of that.
Yeah, like I said, the main takeaway is we just need to build more internal capacity to develop ideas and implement your directives. So just one last comment on this. This will play out in the budget, and then once we approve the budget, then we can move towards implementation. So that's why I say last quarter is most likely an implementation timeline.
Okay. Any questions?
You'll print these out for us so we could have a little time to look at them?
We'll email them to you. Or do you want them printed?
I'd rather have mine printed because I don't have 11 by 17 paper.
All right. Well, I blew this up so you could see it. It was pretty small.
I mean, it gets a little crowded when you're kind of putting on a 8.5 by 11, or maybe if we did 8.5 by 14, and you printed them.
But as we get into the budget discussions and I bring in the commissioners for finance and public safety and public works, and we're talking about those budgets, we can talk about these structure items as well.
All right. Thank you. Moving on to agreements. The first one, HVAC maintenance agreement.
Yeah, we've been, as in my first 6 months of working here, I've kind of identified a couple areas that I'd like to kind of consolidate into a more efficient. We need to contract for things like HVAC and IT. We just don't have the internal capacity that most people don't. Right now, we are contracted with Thompson Electric, or Thompson, whatever they're called.
Solutions.
Thompson Solutions, thank you. on the HVAC side, but the problem with that is our system here at City Hall has STAR controls. That's the technology that manages all the HVAC, which is owned by Suter. So even when Thompson was working on the stuff, they'd still have to contract with Suter on the controls part of it. And so there was just I think some disconnects that having Suter take over the HVAC, the mechanical part of it, and the controls part of it makes a lot of sense to me. Not a huge increase in costs. There's some increase. But I'd like the commission to approve an agreement with Suter to manage our HVAC for the library, the City Hall, and the police station.
Have we looked at what it would cost to get rid of the STAR controls?
No, but that would...
Controls as like,
Start control is from Suter.
everyone,
Right.
The subject.
That's what I mean. if
but
we went
everyone
with a
uses
different
STAR
control
controls.
system.
There aren't a lot of other options.
Like,
I don't think that's an option you want to pursue.
Yeah, in hindsight, if you were to put another HVAC system in here, you wouldn't use proprietary controls. Like the library and the police station, they just have a regular system, whereas this one has, every room can have a different temperature and all that stuff. And we have the same problem with at the school district, is that once you have that proprietary technology, it's difficult. But I think CW Suter can manage it better. There's two sides to that equation. One is obviously the contractor, but it's also us at City Hall managing that contract appropriately. This just eliminates finger pointing. You only got one person to talk to instead of two.
I would move that we approve the Suter agreement for an increase of $534 per year to consolidate all the controls for the systems.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Next is IT contract.
Yeah, this is kind of a similar situation. Thompson Solutions is also our contract for this. For the IT portion of it, I'd like to switch to RTI. There's really not a lot of difference in cost here, but RTI is a local company here in North Sioux City. And also, they have our phone system. So they manage our phone system for us. And so there again, sometimes when we have a problem with our phone, then we have to get both Thompson and RTI involved in it. And I'd like to have RTI just come in and have one solution. When I came here I got a new computer when I started. We ordered it from Sterling. Thompson had to configure it, and then RTI had to come in and hook it up to our phone systems. This is going to bring that all in-house, so we have one contractor to talk to and take care of it. It's not a big increase in costs. The other part of that too is we're also working with ECI to help us look at all of our security systems. We have different ones in every building. We want to try to consolidate that and standardize that a little bit more. Entry into all our buildings is a little different for each building. We want to kind of consolidate all that and bring that under one umbrella too. We'll be bringing that forward here in a couple meetings.
All right. So we'll look for a motion for the...
I'll motion to approve the RTI agreement.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. And then next, lastly, approval of bills.
So moved.
Second.
All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Look for,
So we'll start getting code red calls now because there's a thunderstorm warning. So everybody's phone should be ringing.
oh, there they go. Yeah. All right, look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Got some work to do.
I'll share.